Welcome to the latest episode of 5 Questions With. I've been very much looking forward to sitting down and speaking with you today, Justin. Could you just tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your role and your background?
Yeah, hello. I'm Justin Galliford, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Norse Group. I've been with Norse about 18 years. I've had a very varied career, very exciting career through that time. And currently, I'm responsible for helping drive the business forward as we move into a new era, really, of one true group, bringing together all the different things that we do across our portfolio of services.
Justin, your Norse career has seen you in a diverse set of roles, but what do you feel are the key skills for good leadership?
Thank you. That's a really interesting question. I think the real key for good leadership is somebody that paints a vision. There's a big distinction between moving from a management role into a leadership role, and I think sometimes they get confused. Leaders paint a clear vision, they look to the horizon and they think about tomorrow and the future. That allows your management team to focus on the day-to-day tasks, pulling from that vision to work out what they need to do to deliver it. And that distinction is really, really important when you're delivering good leadership.
And expanding on that slightly, Justin, do you think that good leaders are born or made?
Well, it's a really good question. And I think that's one of those archetypal questions on any kind of business course you do. And certainly the military discuss these sorts of things a lot. There's lots of different views on it. Personally, I think to a certain degree they're born. I think you have to have a composite of soft skills. Really, it's about understanding people to some degree at least. And then, of course, I think with the right training and development, you can enhance those. But fundamentally, you have to have some innate characteristics around working with people. And the job for us, and I think for anybody in a leadership role within our business, and I'm sure others, is to identify that potential in people and really take them on that journey to help them deliver the best that they can.
So staying on that question, Justin, which one of those categories do you put yourself into and why?
Yeah, you put me on the spot a bit there. I think I've been very fortunate. I think through my life, I've had opportunities that I didn't realise at the time were really helping develop leadership potential. So I had a short period where I was a reservist, and that really, really helped me because some of the training you do just gets you thinking about those things and puts you in those kind of leadership roles. But I also have to say I've been really fortunate on my journey with Norse because, as I just outlined, I was given the opportunity to develop those skills and to practice them. And without a doubt, one of the things that I've been really lucky to do is work through lots of operational roles. I talked earlier about the role of management as opposed to leadership. Being good at management, it really is about managing people, certainly in our business. And that's allowed you to, or me, to enhance those people skills that we now take forward into leadership.
With technology developing faster than ever, what do you think the emerging skills for leaders of organisations could look like in the future?
All right, so that's a really interesting question. I think everybody at the moment is really excited about AI in all sorts of different organisations, and it's about the potential. Everybody knows it can deliver something, but nobody's quite sure what that is or how it really works for. But I think really what AI symbolises is change and the pace of change. And of course, I think often we forget that we live in the period of the fastest growing industrial evolution and technological advancement in mankind's history. But because we're born into it, we just go with it. However, I think that's accelerating. So I think the really important skill for leaders in future organisations is adaptability, to accept that nothing's constant. When you think about the advancement we see in technology, leaders of tomorrow are going to have to be able to understand future trends quickly and take their organisations on that journey to make sure they're resourced right and they're delivering the right products and services for their customer base.
Has Norse Group already experimented with any artificial intelligence concepts, or are you actively planning to do so?
We're starting to look at it now. So we're doing some really interesting work with an AI tool on procurement. And for procurement, you can read kind of contract management. But an organisation of our size has a very wide procurement base. We have lots of different contracts. So understanding what that means, what our next opportunities are to get best value from procurement, allows us to make strategic decisions. So we're using that as a bit of a test case. At the same time, we're spending a lot of time and effort at the moment updating our back office systems, and we're really going for what we would call a vanilla set of platforms, which means pretty much as the developer produces them. And that's going to give us a stable base to move forward with AI tools over the top. So we can create things like data lakes, which really is about having data available to be used in lots and lots of different formats. So it's back on that agility footing that I was talking about just now, so we can respond to change. So it's a really exciting time for us in the group at the moment.
I know one of your overriding priorities has been future-proofing and growing the business. How have you gone about that?
I think fundamentally it's about culture. So I mentioned earlier that we were going on a journey as one Norse, and that's really about bringing together the different parts of the business to make sure we can deliver better services for our customers, predominantly into the public sector. And that's our care services, our property management services, and our facilities management services. But when we first brought those three businesses together, we didn't have a unified culture. So we're spending an awful lot of time at the moment really working on developing our culture. And that's easier said than done because I always say to people there's two types of culture or two definitions. There's the one that you want and there's the one that you have. So we've spent a lot of time working with our staff over the last 2 years with focus groups, using some external support to talk to our staff, understand what's really important to them and how they view our organisation, and at the same time talk to our other stakeholders, our existing customers and potential customers in our market. And having done that, we've been able to refresh our values and embed within that the kind of principles that we really want our culture to be based upon. And the next evolution of that has been the brand relaunch that we've done. And it's really interesting because when you unify the three companies under a new brand with a set of values that reflects the culture our staff and our stakeholders tell us that they want to see, it's really, really powerful. And we've had lots of good feedback, and it's certainly been well received by our staff in terms of their employee journey, but also our customer base as well. And I think the fundamental difference that we found between a logo and a brand is that a brand has culture steeped within it, and a brand endures. I mean, a logo is just a logo, but if you can create a true set of values around that, that's how the brand endures and you secure the future of the organisation.
Social values are now embedded heavily in the way Norse Group operates. Why are they so important to you, Justin?
Thank you. Yes, social value really is important to us, and it's one of the things I've been really keen to ensure that we deliver on for our customers and for our shareholder as well. And I think in the modern world, given recent events that have happened, certainly the COVID-19 pandemic and the economic challenges that we've seen in the West and of course in our country as well, what it's really demonstrated is that there's a role that everybody in society can play towards helping shape the future and create a strong, unified sense of place for people. Much of the work we do is centred upon our local communities, wherever they may be, and the places we operate around the country. So a key part of that is not just about delivering value in terms of a pound sense, it's about making sure that we help enrich the places in which we operate. So one of the things that we spent quite a lot of time doing is trying to develop a strategy that really helps us enhance the offer we have for our customer base by, yes, delivering things on a cost-efficient basis, but understanding what's important to them in their local communities and then delivering it. And indeed, that's something which we're working with several other businesses to really help them go on that journey, because I think lots of people today, given the events that I talked about, and in particular young people coming into the world of business, are really keen to understand not just what's in it for them in a financial sense or career development sense, but actually what your organisation does as part of wider society. I think that's a really interesting step change from the recent work model, at least. So a really good example is when we're talking to young graduates and young people starting out on their careers, they often talk about terms and conditions, as you'd expect, but they want to know what we're doing on net zero, for example. So these things are really, really important in terms of employee engagement, but also customer engagement.
That's a really interesting answer, and I know that we were discussing net zero earlier today. Do you think this is achievable?
It's a really interesting challenge for us because a lot of the things we do are what we would call frontline. So we use plant and equipment to deliver services, or indeed we design buildings which of course has a certain carbon footprint either built into it or it will use through its lifetime. So the challenge for us is to deliver things in a cost-effective way, yet provide solutions that allow our customers to improve their carbon performance and reduce that footprint. We've had to take a very pragmatic view. So our strategy is that we'll be net zero by 2050, and then we break our tactical activities down into 5-year segments and then a 1-year plan within that. So taking those 5-year bite-sized pieces lets us really focus on immediate initiatives, things we know that we can help improve on, things like a switch to electric vehicles or looking at alternative fuels for some of our larger fleets. And then it allows us on that slightly longer timescale to look at things like, when we renew our leases, do we want to go for a different building complement that has a better carbon footprint performance? So it's a blend of action where we know we can make a difference, but also giving ourselves enough time to look at different ways of achieving, at the moment, some fairly difficult tasks in terms of net zero.
I'd like to just ask you one final question, which is, if you could wake up in the body of any famous person, who would it be and why?
For me, that's quite an easy one. For many reasons, I'd say Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know me, I love to train, and I think he's a man that defined a sort of sport of bodybuilding, but fitness and health. But more importantly than that, in many ways, really, he's somebody that turned up in a country with a vision, with a dream, and he made it come true. And he talks now really well about how you take a vision and you turn it into reality. So he's an aspirational character, I think, for many, as well as the fact that he's done lots of good through his life. So anybody that's interested, I'd recommend you have a look at his book, 7 Rules of Success. Really, really fascinating character.
Justin, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.